Okay, so Business Analytics 2, MGT 4270, and this is the textbook we'll be using, Data Mining for Business Analytics, and it is a pretty good book. And it's quite well written and not too complicated, easy to understand, and so on. So I highly recommend that you read the chapters. I know that it's kind of hard, but it is, if you, before coming to class, if you read the chapters, it will be very, very beneficial for you. Okay. So I highly recommend that. And okay, so the first chapter goes through some basic introductory stuff, which is what we're going to do, and then and the topics covered are define what data analytics is, what data mining is, and then we will define big data, define what data science is, okay, and then there are some terminologies that are kind of unique to business analytics. So at the back of the chapter has a whole list of it, and I would recommend that you go over that. And then we will look at an overview of the data mining process and techniques. So that's the kind of agenda for chapter 1. Okay, so what is business analytics? So business analytics is the practice of taking data, analyzing data, and then making business decisions based on the information that we glean from data analysis. Okay, so that's a very broad definition. And there is a whole range of data analytics methods that come under this rubric of business analytics, and that's the topic of this whole class. So we're going to look at a whole range of methods, and they are classified into some groups, and we will go over what those groups are and what the individual methods are. Okay. And data mining is more of an exploratory process rather than predictive process. So you do the data analysis and you try to predict something. Okay. Data mining would be to mine information from big data. Okay. So large quantities of data, and you analyze and try to come up with meaningful information from that data analysis. Okay. So here is a broad overview of what we mean by data, okay, when it comes to data analytics or business analytics, whatever that you may call. So data can be looked at in 3 broad categories. Okay, there is structured data, then semi-structured data, and then unstructured data. Okay. So what is a structured, semi-structured, unstructured? So structured data is what you probably have handled generally speaking in other courses. So structured data will be one where data is well tabulated. You have one column for each variable, and each row is an observation containing values for each column, and so on. So like a database. A database has lots. Some of you may have already taken the database class, and you know the database. You have lots of tables, and they are linked together, and so on and so forth. So that would be a case of structured data. There is structure in data, and it's already pretty well formatted. So you have financial data, and you have point of sale data that you scan, and you get data automated. Okay, things that are mechanical, automated data that comes in usually will be well structured. Okay, so that's your structured data. Now, semi-structured data or data that already they have some sort of structure, but then they are not in the format that is amenable for data analysis. So you have to do some manipulation to bring it to a format which can then be analyzed. So that would be semi-structured. So it will be like data in a web page. Data in a web page, somebody else is creating the web page, and they create the web page, and there are some tables in the web page, and you want to pull the data off of those tables. Then when it comes in the format that the web designer has set up. and may not be in a format that's useful for us. So you have to jiggle it around and so on. So that's your semi-structured data. Now, unstructured data is where there is no structure at all. So it will be like videos and audios, podcasts, email. So there is no structure there. So there may be a little bit of structure, like in email, there may be metadata about who is sending it, when they are sending it, to whom they are sending the email, subject, and so on and so forth. But then when it comes to the content of the email, it's completely open-ended. There is no structure at all. And same way, social media. So you the tweets and so on that go back and forth, and you want to analyze that and then see what's going on. Or reviews, product reviews that you post in Amazon, and you want to go through those product reviews and then come up with what kind of sentiment is expressed in those product reviews. So it is completely open-ended. There is no structure. So data analysis, if you want to analyze, you need data in a very structured fashion. Now you have raw data that has completely no structure at all. So we have to go through that data, bring some order to it, convert it into a format that can then be analyzed. So this is the most difficult part of data analysis, and of course in all of them, quite a lot of time and effort need to be spent in organizing the data that can then be analyzed. And obviously, this is where that part of your data analytic task takes a lot of time. So here are some examples of structured data. So here is a database, okay, and then you have semi-structured data. So you have a PDF file. So here I have given a couple of links that you can check out. Okay, so where we have PDF data. So now here you have population data, annual estimates of some kind of population. So you have by region, so you have the entire United States, and then you have the regions, and then you have the individual states. Now, of course, if you take the data as it is, you can't run any useful analysis. You have to convert it into a format that can then be analyzed. Okay. Unstructured, all right. And then we have the 4 V's of big data, so volume, velocity, variety, and veracity. So again, this is the big data. So with the advent of modern technology, you have lots and lots of data coming in. That's volume, and it comes in really fast, so velocity. And then there are many different types of data coming in, so that's your variety. And many of them have varying degree of accuracy. Okay, some data is quite accurate, and some data may not be very accurate. So you have to deal with all of these 4 V's in big data. Okay, all right. So let's before we get into the data science